Hey everybody, welcome into a special edition of the Hot Tag. I am Scalz, that is Jamie, and let's get off and started. How are we doing tonight, Jamie?
Man, we are doing absolutely fantastic tonight on this program right here. We got some exciting stuff coming up, and also on the network, we have a Royal Rumble selection show, which is going to be absolute electric if you're following us in our Discord servers and stuff like that. I'm just excited. Royal Rumble is next weekend. Saturday night's main event was last night. Wrestling has been on a freaking roll.
Thank you, Swagums, for the sub. We truly appreciate it here at Off the Top. We love your support. Uh, Thank you, Al. Thanks for joining us. How are we doing tonight? I saw that a little too late, Jamie.
We're a family
Um,
show here.
there's no such thing as a family show on Off the Top. It's all right.
Ain't that the truth?
They do. As far as I know, they do sell side plates at all the shows, so you should have no issue getting those. What's going on, Mike? How are we doing tonight? Thank you for the sub, Jaxpo. Appreciate it. Thank you for stopping by. Love everybody coming out to show us support. But let's get started. So this week in wrestling, we had a phenomenal week. Had Monday Night Raw, you had NXT, you had AEW, TNA Live, which we're going to touch on later, SmackDown, and Saturday Night's main event. We had 5 freaking days.
5 days.
Sorry, 6 straight days of wrestling. And if you count Sunday with TNA's pay per view and GCW's pay per view, the entire week was stacked.
Wrestling's on a roll, man. Wrestling is on an absolute heater.
Wrestling is back. It is probably the most, the hottest it's been in such a long time. And it is led by WWE and how they are. But even the indie scene is on fire. Hog had a great event last week. They had another one last night. GCW had another one had one on Sunday. They were in London last night. Like there's just everywhere you look, there is wrestling. And it's phenomenal.
I mean, this tells you how hot it is. If you want to sit in the nosebleeds at WrestleMania, it's like close to $2,000. Like that's how hot the wrestling business is right now.
Yeah, I'm feeling pain with that. Swagums. I collect the mini belts. As you can see above my Funkos, those are mini belt collections. They pretty much stopped selling them on the site, and I'm kind of distraught because
I saw
I
that.
have so many that I still wanted to get that it's not going to be. Al, it's about supply and demand. It is about supply and demand because if you're going anywhere, how much are Taylor Swift concerts? They're even more expensive than WWE shows.
Also, it's
standard,
those,
good.
it's those ticket suppliers too. Those are the real greedy ones.
Yeah, the the fees on it. That's what I was trying to think of. The fees are not as bad as they were. Like a lot of them have gotten in trouble for for charging those fees, so they have cut that back on those. But like I'm saying, it's just not really hard too. It's the entire industries right now. If everything gets hot, the price is going to go up because it's about the demand for it.
Absolutely.
So I understand where you're coming from. It's hard to even go to a show. I know about major cost. I live in freaking New York City. Everything here is crazy. So I understand all of that. But what is something you wanted to touch on from this week? You can pick anything across all those shows. We have Saturday night main event separate. We have TNA separate. So anything that is outside of those.
Dude, let's talk about Drew McIntyre, the whole Drew McIntyre, Seth freaking Rollins, CM Punk kind of triangle here. You could throw in Jey Uso too as part of that, but not even. But that whole trinity of rivals and just how hot they've been making the product, the storyline in it, and that it's cooking up to the Royal Rumble. We're not even talking about John Cena coming back. We're not even talking talking about, Roman Reigns being in the Rumble. Like if you don't really remember or pay attention to it much, you're like, oh, Roman's in the Rumble
Mhm.
because these three guys especially have been carrying this build up to the Royal Rumble on the men's side, and it just when you see those three guys part of that last four of that conglomerate there, or even the top, like 8 spots, it's going to be absolutely electric, and it's going to set the tone for the build to WrestleMania.
That's
I
that
mean,
triangle between those 3. It all started back with Cody helping him out, and what was it, Bad Blood, that they teamed together?
yes.
It all started with that, and that's where Drew got on this, and then they went and then you had Sammy and Jay help him out for Survivor Series, and
Mhm.
Drew was like, "Why is everybody helping him out? We don't want him back in power the way he was." And it's just such a
Exactly.
great story with what they're doing, and it's even this week, you have Drew versus Sammy on Monday Night Raw tomorrow night, and 2 years ago, Sammy was running from Drew on a weekly basis, did not wanna wrestle him, and now we're finally gonna get a match that is gonna be top to bottom, start to finish, unbelievable.
I mean, the fact that everybody, especially in the VKM era, was talking about we want long-term storytelling, and then now that we're getting it under this new regime and it's being done to a point where it keeps things fresh and that everyone and their mama is involved. That was the one thing that when people say and go back and be like, oh, Vince Russo was this, Vince Russo was that, at least like he had something for everybody. And that's kind of something here. Like, it's not necessarily that this new regime has something for everybody, but for the people that they have their main storylines in, they keep it fresh. They keep everyone involved in it that needs to be involved, and it's very integrated.
And
Oh, if I could talk today.
it's not even just on the main roster too. Like,
No.
it's going all the way down to NXT and how
Yes.
NXT is. Like, this week you had 2 championship matches. You had 3 championship matches. You
Mhm.
had the North American Championship being defended, you had the Men's Championship, and you had the Heritage Cup. And these stories have gone on for months. The only one that's really not as much as the other ones is the Eddie Thorpe and Obafemi one that there was, but
Yeah.
that's been back and forth because of how Eddie Thorpe has been going dating back all the way to Deadline.
Yep.
So that's 2, 3 months going in right there. So we're getting more long-term storytelling instead of booking on a week to week basis it's benefiting WWE immensely.
Well, something that I've seen and like kind of thought that like be something beneficial instead of like there's some of these rivalries that they have been beaten into like a dead horse, and I understand why they're doing it, but to get the most out of it, I would feel that like, and they've done a good spot of it, kind of with the Bloodline saga. Like back in the territory days in the '80s, Jim Crockett did it really well. How you know you had rivalries, and they never really like you had blow off matches and stuff, but the rivalries were never completely dead. And I think you're seeing some of that with the Drew McIntyre stuff, especially, and with the Roman Reigns, the Bloodline stuff. But with everything else, you're kind of not getting that. Um, and
So,
there's
going
just
off
a
of what you
few other
mentioned,
things.
what story did you think was
Yeah.
beat to hell? That's what I want to know before you continue.
Oh gosh. I think Chelsea Green and Meechin, like
Okay,
that's
they're having their third and final match this Friday coming up, so that should be done.
like it was a great rivalry. I'm not saying it wasn't. I think that division has so much more to offer.
Okay, that's fair,
I mean, that's a fair assessment, I would think.
100%.
And That's really the main one that I could think of. But I know just in the
I I have
past
one.
over like the last few years, yeah.
Judgment Day.
Oh, I'm so like I'm not.
Finn
Judgment
Balor
Day's
and Damian Priest, especially, and I'm glad that they moved
okay.
the
That's
Priest
the
to
one.
Friday night, to Friday.
Yes, I was tired of watching those two fight almost every week.
So I am glad that Priest is now on Friday night. It opens up more challenges also for Cody or whoever's going to win
Yeah,
that belt. So I have a
I
lot
mean,
to see there.
and that's the thing is because like I like both of those guys. I like Finn Balor a lot, and I really enjoy Damian Priest. So for them to separate from each other, I mean, you might still see them go jaw jack at it at the Rumble, but and that's
Mhm.
the thing about keeping the rivalries necessarily alive. But there's some separation in there. There's some
Okay.
separation in there.
What else were you thinking?
That was really that on that end.
Okay.
I kind of got lost on what we were actually needing to
We're
talk
just
about.
talking about stuff from this week,
We
so it could be anything. So
we did see another performance out of Penta. Dude, that's the thing. You put
amazing.
guys like Pete Dunne, you put guys like Chad Gable in there, and they could go with anybody. They can go with anybody.
The Penta is going to be a huge addition to WWE. Not to mention the other ones that they're bringing in as well. Like
Mm-hmm.
Lindsay Dorado is back at NXT.
I saw that, and I was like, that's interesting. It's a very
There's
interesting pickup.
also another luchador coming from Mexico that has announced that he's coming towards WWE. I can't think of his name right now. We know we're going to be getting Ray Phoenix whenever his contract is up.
Mm-hmm. And
So
the thing about Penta is, and we've had this conversation a lot about, Rey Mysterio is the biggest, at least on the US side and probably globally, is the biggest, Hispanic superstar in the world. Just because off of recognition that, his work here in the States and stuff like that. And I've said on FNR and on the network and on these programs over the last 3 to 4 years, I was like, dude, Dragon Lee's that next guy. A lot of you guys were saying, Santos Escobar and all that. And Santos is great. I love Santos. His work in Lucha Underground, his work on NXT, especially, and even on the main roster, it's good stuff. And I said, Dragon Lee, though, like I'm very impressed with Dragon Lee. I said Dragon Lee's going to be that next guy. What I saw the last few weeks on Raw from Penta, and I texted you right like after his entrance, dude. And I was like, Scalz, you know what I said about Dragon Lee, bro? I was like, that's about Penta, bro.
and I
It's
love the
about
fact that
Penta.
they've changed his entrance already and gave him such a unique pyro compared to everybody else. This one from Monday Night Raw was insane.
It's
Yes,
all about standing
yes,
out.
you're not wrong with that, Ty. You're not wrong with that.
Contanamo. Man.
It's like that's a whole nother story. I'm not even going to get into that because I have feelings on that whole
I mean,
situation.
since we're on the topic, let's get into it.
It's TK being VKM. He's doing
I
what he said he would never do.
I
He has
understand
turned
that,
into the person that he wanted to be the alternative to. And now
but
he's being so petty that he pulled his merchandise and he's preventing him from working anywhere else. So not
okay,
only are you
so
taking away him working, you're now taking away additional sources of income. That is something that Vince never did. Vince never pulled your merchandise when you were sitting there. Your merch was still on the site.
yeah. Well, I mean, I was about to say that's the one thing I was gonna say was kind of messed up. But if you're a business owner and you have a guy working for you that's under a set contract, I mean, wouldn't you want that guy to not, you know, to
Now what?
fulfill that contract? at least time wise.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Then put him to work.
But that's the thing: if the guy isn't gonna
No,
go
no,
to
no, no.
work,
TK is not giving him anything to work. He has not turned any creative down. He has not done any of that. TK is not providing him with anything or opportunities to work. He is paying him to sit him on the sideline.
he's still getting paid.
Yes, but he's losing out on additional money. TK is blocking any indie dates. TK has pulled his merch off of this site. And TK is punishing the one person he could because he couldn't punish the person who actually spoke about it. Phoenix
Who
never
got
opened up
punished
his mouth.
when?
Phoenix never spoke about
Okay.
anything.
So who got punished for the curtain call? Because he couldn't punish anyone else.
What current call? What are you talking about?
The curtain call, Bubba. MSG, Bubba.
What are you talking about?
Triple H. When Hall and Nash were on their way out, Michaels was still the champ. Someone had to get the shit can of it.
It's
I know it's a totally different situation.
It's setting a bad precedent for people that are going to want to come work for you. Because now you're doing
it's not a great look.
Because now he's doing it with more than one wrestler. He's also doing it with Ricky Starks. He pulled Ricky Starks' dates from GCW.
I mean, I do kind of agree with you though on the if you as in creative doesn't have anything for him, let him work few and selective trusted dates. But I feel like there's still something deeper with the whole Ray Phoenix thing. I really do. I think it's a two-way street on that one. I really do. Do I think taking merchandise down, that's absolute that's slummy. That's slumlord stuff. That's not right. But everything else, you don't know necessarily the other side of the story. So for the judgment off on that one, it's like until you really know kind of what's going on that side, it's like
what about Ricky Starks?
I mean, and that's the thing, if your boss doesn't have anything for you, then he doesn't have anything for you. You're still getting paid. Ricky Starks, Ricky Starks getting to work some dates.
Yeah, in select events.
I mean, hell,
he's had other ones rejected.
WWE for the longest time, they weren't able to.
That's Vince. That's my point. That is my point exactly.
Hey, at least he's
letting
you some guys
for making it for me.
Selective dates. VKM didn't let them do any dates.
That
if they were sitting on the bench.
He's not letting Ray Phoenix do any dates.
I'm saying there's got to be something else to that story. Because
it's called he's being spiteful. Yeah, he's being spiteful and petty because they announced they were going to WWE.
Two-way street.
If they didn't announce that they were going anywhere else, if they didn't say that they were going there, if they didn't say that, if Conan and Penta didn't say they were going to WWE, Ray Phoenix would not be getting punished the way he is. Phoenix didn't even say anything. And because he was one that had eligible time because of injury to be added to his contract, he is the one being screwed. And yes, you are 100% correct, Jax. The same thing is about to happen to Britt Baker.
All I know is that if I'm paying for someone on the contract, they're going to stay. That's just me.
But why? If they want to be released, if they want to be released and they ask you to be released out of their contract, why would you not do it to not pay them anymore?
Because as a businessman, if you're paying someone guaranteed money on a contract and then you release them, you're still paying on that contract.
You're not.
And
You're
then
only
and
paying.
then you also don't want them going over and creating buzz for your competition.
It's
We're not talking about the dentist. That's a whole different thing. I don't care. But on this, that's just kind of where I'm thinking. Like, I don't know the full situation. I'm not, but dude, with the injury time, after the injury time, call it good. Kabuki can go.
yeah, it's a full year. So he's not going to work for a full year. He's going to be a year older. He's going to have ring rust for a full year because he's not being allowed to work anywhere. And now he's not getting any additional funds because he can't have merchandise up.
Then he should have thought about that before signing a contract to work. I mean, do
So
something.
hold on.
Go kidnap
I'm going
Jack
to play
Perry or
I'm going to
something.
play I'm going to play devil's advocate here, Jamie.
That's what I've been doing all night.
No, you're not, because you're arguing for the business, for the corporation. So what if you fired the wrestler?
Then
Then
that's
what?
the thing.
How is it fair?
Depends on contract terms.
No.
If the contract
You
terms
can't have
say
you
that
can't have it both ways. TK builds his contracts as if it's a sports contract for certain things, and then as if it's a wrestling contract for others. He has clauses in the contract to add option years, which has never been heard of in wrestling. But all of a sudden now it's a thing because TK works for the NFL and has these type of contracts there. We can have club options, team options, player options. TK only does club options, the team options. He does not do anything that allows the wrestler to choose. But he
They should
can.
have thought about that before they signed on the dotted line, Bubba.
I hope you never get fired from a job for doing everything correct. Because that's
It's
essentially what
happened.
you're saying is you're siding with the big business. You're siding with the billionaires. You're saying it's okay for him to not give somebody work when he's paying them. He's not allowing them to make additional money. You're saying it's okay for the billionaire to do this.
I mean, it's okay because the billionaire is the billionaire and they can do what they want. If it was my company, I'd probably have him work. That's just me. But it's not my company. It's Tony's. So if Tony wants to do that, then let Tony do it.
It's not even Tony's company. It's one of his dad's companies that's
Daddy's.
that
He's running the show. So that's how he wants to run the
running of
show.
it, but it's owned by one of his dad's companies and he uses it as a tax write-off. That's why he doesn't care if he's making a profit.
Okay, who cares if it's Daddy's company or not? He's the one running it. He's the CEO of it.
If you were running a business and you had employees, you would not allow them to sit at home and do nothing, which he is doing. He is also taking away sources of income from them. He's not
That I
allowing them
don't
to work
agree
elsewhere, which is in his
with.
contract that he is allowed to do. So he's violating the terms. The business is violating the terms of the contract that was signed.
Then he should sue.
He's already working on that because I can guarantee you he is. Just like wrestlers have in the past with AEW. There's been other wrestlers and commentators that have sued AEW for this already.
Which you haven't just. I mean, you didn't bring up that point. I'm just speaking from kind of basic layman terms on the work and right to work.
But he's not doesn't even have the right to work. You're not giving him that right.
I mean, if
you're telling him to sit home and do nothing.
I just find it kind of weird because as the guys back in the WCW days, you give them money and say, hey, stay at home. That's what they're going to do. Then they're going to be happy about it. I mean, Ray Phoenix should be happy he's not dealing with all the embarrassing stuff
He's
over there.
getting older. He's losing a year of his wrestling ability. It's not like he's working in an office and they're telling him to sit at home for a year.
Hit the gym, put some ice on the knees, do something. That's on him. He signed the contract.
Okay. all right. I mean, he signed the contract. So I don't want to hear no complaints when wrestlers get fired and released. I don't want to hear any complaints about that because they signed the contract.
Yeah.
You can't work both sides of the coin here. Either you're for the wrestlers or you're for the big businesses. You can't be for both.
Okay, so here's the
And
thing.
you've cried about and you've
I
cried
ha-
about you've cried about releases before.
I have my opinions, my personal opinions, but also I'm thinking reality based with the businesses. Be like, okay, so me personally, as Jamie, I would love to see Ray Phoenix be released, be able to do his thing and go to WWE and join his brother. Absolutely.
It's not even about that. If you're signing him to the additional year, use him.
Which
Just use him.
I get that. And if I was the one running the company, I would, but I'm not.
So
That's what
you're
I'm trying to
allowing
say.
TK to do what Vince did, is what
It's
I'm
not my
saying.
company. It's not-
But I'm just saying, he's becoming the person that he said he would never be. And he's doing what he said he was the alternative of.
that would be the solution in all reality. That would work, but it's not.
So
Anyways, that was this week in wrestling.
Saturday Night Main Event. Did you watch the show?
I did. Me and Miss Rose watched it at Casa de la Rose. It was a good show.
What'd you think?
It wasn't. I didn't like it as much as the last one, but it was still like a B show for me. Like it was still a good show.
I didn't get to watch the last one, so I was very nostalgic with this one. Um, I felt I liked the atmosphere of it. I liked the way the ring was set up. I liked the old
Mhm.
school wrestling gear for the referees. I loved everything about it. The Trons, the way they were all set up. Everything was great.
I mean, anytime that I see Jesse Ventura on a
No, I'm
screen or a
Tommy. How are we doing
television
today?
set, like I'm all for it. I'm giddy like a little child. So
You got to be careful with him. No, he
no, why
doesn't know
won't
how to
you
control
tell
his
me?
mouth.
It's what I like about him. Okay. Anyways,
Um, favorite moment from last night.
favorite moment from last night. It was the contract signing. I thought the contract signing, it was effective. I liked seeing Shawn Michaels shut up Kevin Owens. That was great. Um, and the symbolism, bro, of that whoa, woo-wee, on the ladder. That was an awesome visual.
Uh, thank you for Sweet Chin Music, Shawn
Yeah,
Michaels.
he didn't
It
pass me up.
proves that it can still be effective with just one. You don't need to have about 15 super kicks in a match. It's not just a super kick. It is
Thank you,
Sweet Chin
Kevin.
Music. It is
Thank you, Kevin.
different. It is different.
It is a very prostituted move, though.
If you want to have that opinion, go see how No DQ is getting ridiculed today for saying that, as opposed to Sweet Chin Music from Shawn Michaels. Um, okay. Kevin Owens has been asking for this match for years.
Oh yeah.
Do we get KO versus HBK at Mania?
No.
Why
No.
not?
This was just integration of the nostalgia of it. It's San Antonio. It's Saturday night's main event. We're taking it old school. You got the old school title there. It was all set to just. It was fan service.
Why?
I don't. Well, gets the people going, but I think Shawn Michaels doesn't want to do another match, and I don't blame him.
He has a sour
I mean,
taste
Shawn Michaels has it.
in Crown Jewel, so I understand that.
What's Crown
But
Jewel? That match never happened. That match
that's where
doesn't
he's
exist.
that's where he's still stuck on. Um, him doing a match like how Stone Cold did with KO would work wonders, and it would give Shawn the proper send off.
I mean, San Antonio street fight. I mean, sure, that'd be cool, but there's no need for it though. Is what I'm trying to say.
But that's the one thing Kevin Owens has been asking for years. He contacts him every single year asking for the match. And with Shawn Michaels getting physical this year, not only here but also in NXT with Eddie Thorpe, I think it's more of a possibility now than ever.
I think Eddie Thorpe's going to run
I'm
into a
ignoring the chat.
problem, but
I'm ignoring the chat. I see it, but I'm ignoring it because they're trying to get me worked up again.
That's not being a great host of you.
Yeah, but they're Jackson Will are purposely doing this intentionally to try and get me worked up.
What?
Yeah, BS,
What?
Tommy. Bullshit.
Oh man, no, but dude, Saturday night was great. I take that back. My favorite moment actually was Jacob freaking Fatu.
I have to pay attention to this comment.
No, now
great.
you're paying attention to the chat.
This is great.
Okay, chat.
Kevin Owens is more consistent at losing title matches at the Rumble than Tommy is sleeping to Baby Shark.
Can we put that on stream again? Or on live?
You have tucked Tommy in bed a few times with Baby Shark.
Yeah.
It's been great.
Just you gotta make sure he puts Coco Melon on the TV. And make sure he has his passy.
Jacob Fatu.
Dude.
Beast.
That was a star-making moment last night.
Yeah.
Fatu.
Jacob Fatu. So apparently he was supposed to do a few more moonsaults too. He was supposed to keep going. But I feel with the fact that he was busted open, I think that's what caused him to stop. And I don't know if he got busted open the hard way, how it was, but one screen he was clean, the next it was bloody everywhere. And he hadn't got hit, so I think that he bleeded.
Other way, it was still a great visual.
It was.
That makes him an absolute star. But
I didn't like the ending of the match. I did not like that they had it go to a no contest or Braun get the win, but the aftermath was well worth it.
That's the thing. That moment was so great that they're not going to remember the match.
Yep.
That's the thing. But just imagine if it was Fatu versus, 2017, 2018 Monster of Men, Braun Strowman, dude. Yeah, that would have hit.
The problem is you can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
He could barely run. He needs to retire the running around the ring. It was like a speed walk around the ring.
Mm-hmm. Dude, so no, go ahead.
Go ahead. I was gonna ask if we were done, but you wanted.
No, I was gonna say Gunther and Jey Uso. It was a good match.
Disappointed. I'm disappointed.
Oh, you wanted?
I wanted a title change in some way, shape, or form. I either wanted it in that match, but my main one was I really wanted Sheamus to win that IC belt.
Yeah, that would have been nice, and I was rooting for Sheamus.
Just because that's the one he needs for the Grand Slam.
I mean, I think he'll get it. I think they're gonna keep messing with it and teasing it. But it was a good match, But at the end of the night, you got Powerbomb, Gunther, done.
Yeah, but they need to do something now because Jey Uso hit him with all those things. He was almost counted out, and then all of a sudden he just does two moves and the match is over.
The finish was a little,
rushed.
Yeah, but it was still a good match for what it was. And like Jey Uso's gonna get his chance. He is.
Yeah, I'm not too upset about him not winning. I'm more upset about Sheamus not winning.
Yeah. But
Um,
that's all I got for Saturday night.
Hounds of Hell.
Boy, I don't know why, but I actually. Oh, here we go, Al.
Uh,
Oh, they're getting the LA Knight treatment. But Hounds of Hell. I like this presentation.
okay,
I liked it.
I do too.
The barking, the it's a way for them. Yes, there's still gonna be the House of Black to the
No,
casual and to everyone else, but I like that they're trying to branch them out. They're still the same vicious, competitors that they are, but at the end of the day, that like they're trying to make them, legitimate in this. And
you know what I didn't like?
what didn't you know?
The fact that they showed the promo, the vignette for them after Julia Hart
Mm-hmm.
debuted new music and lost on Wednesday night. Why would you not have that venue come up before she has her match? Before she has new music?
Well, if she was gonna lose, then that kind of just defeats the purpose.
But it should have happened to where you can see the reason for the change. You have the vignette, and then you have her come out with the new music where all of a sudden, instead of saying the house always wins, the heart always wins. Like it changed the entire people notice things like
Yeah,
that.
no, I get what you're saying. My thing is like, if they're gonna do that and take the time out to do it, then why put her in a situation where she's just gonna lose?
Well, she's gonna lose. She lost the back and forth with Jamie Hayter. Obviously, it was to make it 1-1. So I
Right.
understand the loss. The loss
Yeah.
doesn't deter what happened. Just do the vignette first to
Okay.
explain
Yeah.
the change. Like
I mean,
you
I
don't do
get
the
that, but
change and then
also
have the
like,
vignette.
yeah, I get that, but it's also like, if that's how you're gonna introduce them as the trio, as the collective, as the whole, it still worked out well. It still worked out good.
Oh, you have her show. You have her showing. You show her walking with all of them while she's laying in the ring.
Yeah.
To me, it's just ass backwards.
Yeah.
But love the
Yeah.
presentation of it. Um, love the way that they're going to have this set up. I think the Hounds of Hell is going to be a badass faction with the three of them.
And here's the thing. I think Tony is gonna reward the three of them for sticking around and for being troopers.
Yeah. Until he doesn't, and then he just has them sit in the back and
Try to
is
be
monotony.
optimistic, man. Positivity, man. And they call me the hateful.
You call yourself hateful. No one called you that.
It's the gimmick, baby. Come on.
All right. Timeless. Now,
This was good.
you know I'm not a fan of hers. I don't like the timeless gimmick. I didn't like the stupid amnesia crap.
Mm.
I was saying the entire time that she was faking, that she was not, there was no thing that she's still timeless, blah, blah, blah.
The
She
amnesia
needed
was
to be,
real.
it was fake.
It was real.
It was fake. She needs to beat Mariah May and be done with this shit.
Man, I'm saying this is the best stuff that's happened to the women's division. This is great.
It's the only stuff that happens to the
The,
women's
the, the
division.
timeless Tony Storm stuff has carried that promotion.
It's the only stuff that's happened in the women's division. There's nothing else going on. What do you have? Mercedes Moné come out with her 4 belts, thinking she's the shit when she actually sucks. What else is happening? You have all, please. You have all the best wrestlers that in that women's division not being utilized. Deonna Purrazzo, Thunder Rosa, Camille Brickhouse. You have them all sitting in the back doing nothing or being shown on Collision. If you're going to do that, make Collision an all-women show. Showcase the women that are in this damn division when you're not using them.
And we've both said that. We have both said that they need an all women's show.
Will, I'm about to put my foot up your ass. She's not the greatest women's wrestler of all time. And I will have that discussion with you every night, every day.
But the thing about it is that, like,
Yes, Candyman. Yes, John. Yes. 100%. Monet is boring.
Yeah. Anyways, the thing about the Tony Storm stuff is that, like, it has been carrying, and those ladies have came up with this idea. They present the idea, and they've made it work every step of the way. I mean, it's the one thing where pitch creative has actually, like, worked out.
The only women's title run worse than Mariah May's was Thunder Rosa's, and that's because Tony didn't let her work.
I do think that Thunder
the only one that's worse than this.
A little more time. But that was also when he was pushing DMD.
You know who? Yeah, I know. But Mariah May's reign has not been great. They were waiting for this to whole build up, and it's all about Tony getting her title back.
The one thing I do say about the whole Tony Storm stuff is that they, if they were going to go off with the amnesia angle and stuff like that, they should have, like, prolonged it longer, and they should have kept them kind of separated to a certain point. And
I'm drinking a Dr. Pepper.
I am too. but over time, Mariah May is out there defending her title and going, with different.
Still,
sorry, I'm getting distracted over here.
Tony Storm was not. Everybody is, like, blowing her praises like crazy on Twitter today. Like, everybody is loving what she's done. How
I liked it.
It's okay for her to strip down to her bra and essentially panties on AEW TV, but
it's her wrestling.
She wouldn't take a pie. She got mad that she took a pie to her face in WWE and walked out because she felt it was degrading.
Come on.
Let me take off my clothes on national TV and leave just essentially a bra and short booty shorts.
No, that's called a gimmick change, brother, right there in the ring. You saw that live in living color.
Stop. She's hypocritical. She's argued about this the way she was treated in WWE, and now she's doing the exact same things that they asked her to do there, and she refused to do.
I'm not trying to defend it as much as saying, like, the angle is good. And it's something that's actually been a positive note for that division.
It's not a positive for the division if nobody else is getting utilized off of it. It's these two women, and it's done nothing for advancement on this division the entire time. It's back to square one.
And we're
back to where we started.
And I was trying to say earlier, before I did get distracted, that you separate the two for a prolonged period of time. You have them go off and do other things and elevate other people on the way up to eventually getting back at each other. They're talking. If you're wanting to talk about burying talent, let's talk about Mercedes Moné.
Oh, 100% she does. That's fact.
But if we're still talking about Tony Storm, voila, there we go.
No, she's not doing anything. She's going to come back. She's going to win. And what is it going to do for Mariah May the entire time? It made her have a lackluster title reign just to give Tony back the belt.
Hey, at least she had the belt.
Okay, at least Mercedes has 4 belts. What is going to happen to those belts when she loses them? Nothing, because she's not going to do anything to put them over. She buries talent on the way through. She doesn't raise it.
It's just a prop. If that's the thing, if the title was elevated by Tony Storm and then you have the title and it's lackluster, like, what does that say about you? And or the position?
It's
like, that's a mix of both talent and creative, just not mixing. Because that's the thing. Mariah May does have the talent. Tony Storm does have the talent. But sometimes the two don't mix because it's what other talent also is there to work with, or at least that they're gonna throw at her.
They're not
That's
putting
the
the
thing,
proper talent in the right positions. They're not utilizing the other talent that they have.
which I'm not disagreeing with.
Like, look at Jamie Hayter since she came back. She was a champ before she left.
She's totally
Where's
different now.
Where's Soraya? Where's she at? She's
Soraya's
posting.
breaking up with her boyfriend, but anyways,
She's posting photos on Twitter. Is what she's doing. She's not working. Like, Will, you're okay. Not even close, Will.
dude, be
Holy
careful.
crap.
Be careful when addressing Will.
PK
Like,
would have won the money. Oh my!
you say
God.
his name, he might appear. I mean, he might appear, brother.
Tony, and this goes back to everything before. Tony is worse than Vince. Not on all the crazy shit that VKM has done. Nobody will touch that. This has nothing to do with any of that.
I think
People, I'm not comparing
wrestling.
TK to that at all. In regards to wrestling, TK has turned into VKM. That's just my opinion. Let's move on. TNA.
He's the best since Jim Hurt.
Fire right now. They went live for the first time in 8 years. You brought back Matt Cardona to have a title shot in the main event. Mustafa Ali rejoined TNA. TNA is on fire. Genesis was an amazing pay-per-view. They are losing a few key talents in the next couple weeks. But I am loving what TNA is doing right now.
Hey, any company that's booking, JBL, I'm a fan of.
Every company is booking JBL. He showed up at AML
he's on
last
the clothesline tour.
He was at AML last night.
Get that money, brother. I'm all for it. I'm all for it. But no, TNA is on fire, bro.
Stop letting Will bury my comments like TK does wrestlers. Comment of the night goes to Al. That was great.
I like this comment.
Tony was like 6.
Hey, they were in the same E-Fed.
Tony sent Jericho a text and said, "Hey, brother, I got an idea for a match with a contract. It'll be Money in the Bank, brother."
Oh. No, but the people are saying his name. He's appeared, and Joe Hendry is the champion. Finally. And
if he didn't win that belt on Sunday night,
dude,
he would not have won that belt anytime soon.
No, that was the exact moment.
There you go. But we'll use a poker chip instead, essentially. Well, don't they also have the one? What's the one that Christian is walking around with right now?
That's the list of Jericho.
No, but what is it?
With
It's
an AEW
contract.
logo on the back of it.
It's a contract for a
that's
match.
The list of Jericho. I mean, Jungle Boy's made the list. Jack Perry's made the list. CM Punk's made the list. Cope. Edge has made the list. We're totally burying TNA over here with the comments section.
TNA. You have 2 great champions in Masha Slamovich and Joe Hendry.
Oh, yeah.
You have a good tag team with the Hardys. And Moose came out with a new belt, which looks like a heavyweight championship belt with the size that he got.
Mm-hmm.
Since we were talking about TNA, what do you think about the partnership with NXT?
I think it's beneficial to everybody involved. I think, like we were saying, I think it was a few months back, maybe 6 months back, the NXT talent are going to get extra exposure and elevate themselves with that, and it's vice versa. The TNA guys are going to get the WWE rub, and the NXT guys are going to get the rub of a different crowd and a different
We're gonna talk about that in
atmosphere,
a moment.
because when you're talking about working different territories, that's a good way. Instead of just running the coconut loop, you're also doing TNA, you're working other stuff.
So, well, you're the one that has spoken to me about this and told me that TKO has a 5-year window.
I was about to say
Um,
that's the elephant in the room right there.
the
That's the elephant.
the 3-year partnership ends in 2028, and TKO won't be able to buy another company until 2029. So there is still a year window after that. Um, it's all going to depend on how TKO is doing with a TV contract. If they have a TV contract that's getting them money, I think that they're going to extend the partnership. I don't think they'll sell. If they have no TV and and everything that what everybody says is going to happen in regards to WWE is going to use and abuse them and spit them out, which I don't believe will happen because this is now a different WWE. If that happens, then yes, WWE/TKO will buy them in 2029.
I think they'll buy, but I don't think it'll be a full buy. I think they'll probably buy a minority.
Just enough to get the library.
Yep.
That's really what they want.
So it's the library share, and then they can still run their company and do whatever they want.
Um,
Because the library, at least for WWE, is going to be the most profitable thing out of the deal.
NXT and TNA, back to this. With Mustafa Ali coming back, he's owed a North American title match because he was in line for one when he got released.
Mm-hmm.
Put him up against Tony D'Angelo. Let's see it. Jordan Grace, contract is now up. She's a free agent.
She's WWE bound. I mean, she's built for
I'm expecting
WWE.
her to be in the Rumble as her debut for WWE.
Yep. Absolutely.
Josh Alexander, his contract is up February 15th.
Yeah. Josh
has one
Alexander's
match.
going to be the intriguing one. I do think he's WWE bound, though.
He will 100%, in my opinion, be in the Rumble.
Yeah.
Whether he's WWE bound or not will determine on what he does in the Rumble.
My thing is like whatever Scott D'Amore does, wherever he goes, that's where Josh Alexander's going to go.
Scott D'Amore has his own company. He's not going to go anywhere else.
Well, I mean, there isn't there talks about him at least consulting and doing stuff with other companies.
This is what I want to see happen. I want them to reunite the North. I know you do, Will, but I didn't want to state that. In regards to what else is going on with the Rumble, I'm expecting that we see Masha Slamovich and Joe Hendry enter the Rumble.
Yep.
So we can see both of TNA championships on a big stage and see how they do in front of 60,000 people.
Which has been a tradition at least on the women's side.
It's been 2 years in a row, and now I think it'll be a third. I don't think we're going to get too many TNA into the Rumble, though, John, just because it is a partnership with NXT.
You might have one or two maybe GCW appearances, and maybe even a Pro Wrestling Noah appearance.
If you had a 40-person Rumble as opposed to 30, yes.
Yeah. I'm just saying that there's possibility of it because of the working partnerships.
But because of the 30 that we are at, and what, about 17 already being announced for the men's.
I do think you might get this one.
I don't think so. With all the announcements for the men so far, I think there's less room for surprises. I think we're going to see a lot more surprises in the women than the men's.
I mean, I don't care as long as we see Omos. That's all I care
He's
about.
already back, so expect to see him. I 100% agree, Jax. I think next year, I think when they go to Rumble being 2 nights, that's when we're going to see it stay 40 members each night.
I think the men's need to be 40. The women needs to stay at 30.
Not with the way NXT is growing.
Hell, NXT can have their own version of the Rumble.
Correct. They have enough women down there to do it. So to include the women in the main roster, you need to be at 40.
Do like a 20-person battle royale.
They've done that already. Earlier this year, actually.
Yeah.
But I think 40 needs to happen. That needs to be a regular thing. Jamie,
anything above that, though, is just too much.
No, 100%. 30 isn't right. It eliminates, with all the talent that's in WWE right now, it eliminates a lot of the surprises. So if that's the way you're going to do it and you're going to stick with 30, no one should declare. You should have.
I mean, I do agree
Rumble ever.
I agree with John. Like 30 is the sweet spot.
It's not.
40 is your max.
If you're going to do 30, I want them to stop announcing and declaring.
I don't like how many get announced. That's my thing.
Last year we had 5 surprises. You had 5 unannounced spots in the men's last year.
Well, here's the thing. You should only announce your top guys. That's it.
Now, that's being ridiculous.
Dude, if we're doing 100, let's do 64 and put them in a dang bracket and let them just fight each other. March Madness style, baby. This show is off the rails, and I love it.
You wanted to talk about Alexa Bliss, and I know it's not on your document.
Yeah, this was after the fact.
All right, go ahead.
So we saw the reports that, you know, like, oh yeah, she was going to come back. She was going to do stuff with the Wyatts and stuff like that. No, that was never like really verified or anything like that. There was also another report saying that there were talks and that they were canceled off because WWE was wanting her to work on the, like, based off of the old contract, and that her and her agents or whoever are wanting to negotiate a new contract. Good for her. My only thing, because I don't want to sound like a hypocrite.
You already did. Before
you go and
you already did.
My thing is
insert foot into mouth. Jamie Rose.
That's a different type of show, and that's disgusting, sir. Anyways, my thing is, you might know this because you're a freaking nerd. What would be like this current status of said contract, even if it's still active or anything like that? I don't know, like, how they treat necessarily maternity stuff or anything like that.
It's the same as injury time.
Would that be? Okay.
It could still be injury time.
I mean, you could bring her. You could bring her back on the same contract terms with.
Here, the chat is crazy right now. So this was Al. That 100 would actually be cool. Look, 4 rounds of 25 and a winner of each for a final round. So essentially a final 4, right? Will, not knowing what Al had said, 4 rings, 25 people in a ring, last 4 of a fatal 4-way. They had the same idea, just 2 different concepts. And they're probably sitting across from each other.
Yeah, they're basically the same person.
Just being an ass.
I hate you sometimes.
She has a contract. She should work the contract.
Yeah.
You signed the pen to paper.
Yeah.
Didn't you just say this an hour ago? You can't have it both ways, Jamie.
No, you can't.
Either they work the contract and have to work, or they don't. She shouldn't have to show up to work, just like they shouldn't have to make her
Okay.
work. The way
So,
you're arguing.
so here's the thing, though. Oh, shut up, Jax. So that's I want to know more about said status of contract.
Right. We don't have all the ins and out of her contract. We don't know exactly when it's supposed to be up.
That
Was
was
it
gonna be
supposed
my
to be
point before I.
was it supposed to be up already? Was this now just added time? But in regards to what you were arguing earlier,
Okay, so
if they have work for her, she should show up to work.
yeah,
So
but
you can't have it both ways.
you could still have her come back on an agreement and have
Correct,
maybe
but her,
you could
her
draw up
agent.
something.
Her agent is refusing to do that right now, according to sources.
Yeah, well, her agent needs to get that done because you could come back and you could always restructure a contract. And that's probably what they're trying to do. It's like regular. I mean, any other sport, you could restructure a contract. It's not like she doesn't necessarily want to leave. She
Oh,
just
I
wants
get
more
it.
money. It's
Right.
a different type of situation.
Well, she wants more money, and she wants to be able to support her child that she had, which is
Yeah.
every bit of her right, 100%. But I'm just saying, you can't have it both ways, Jamie.
You can't, and that's
And
the
that's what
thing.
you're and
No,
that's what you're
you were
trying to argue for right now.
no. You were trying to catch me slipping, brother.
And you did, because you argued for her, saying that if she doesn't want to work, she doesn't have to because she wants a new contract. They have work for her, and she's refusing.
Situations are situational. Just remember that.
Right. Last topic for the night.
Put that on a T-shirt and sell it.
Last topic for tonight.
TM, Bubba.
What is your favorite wrestling title, and who do you associate with that title?
Ooh, my favorite. Well, I have two answers for this. I love the classic. I liked so Big Gold, and it's had many forms of it. So I'm not gonna say necessarily a certain version of Big Gold. It's not this one. This is different. This is the WWE World Heavyweight Champion, but Big Gold, it was WWE, WCW, NWA. So with that being said, I associate Big Gold with Triple H because that's what I grew up on. Was Reign of Terror, Triple H, and his carrying of that Big Gold. My second choice, though, and one that I just love and would want in a collection, is the NWA TV title. On that red strap, it's a beautiful belt, and I associate that with Arn Anderson. That's the arm belt.
So, my belt, and I'm have to agree with you, Big Gold. That has been my all-time favorite belt. Now, I associate it with something different than you do.
Okay.
I associate that with WCW.
Yeah.
And I associate it with Sting, with Ric Flair, with DDP holding it, and then with the NWO, obviously, before they turned it into the NWO with the spray paint. But that's what I associate this with more than anything else. Yes, it came to WWE afterwards, but I've always loved the WCW version of the belt better.
Well, you also grew up with WCW. Like, you loved that Turner era with that said belt.
Sting is my all-time favorite wrestler. So yeah,
exactly. So that Sting would be yours. Like I grew up with it. Like I don't have the picture up on the wall, but you had King Booker, you had Edge
Booker
carrying
T.
it for a while. Like
Orton. Didn't Orton carry that too?
Oh yeah, Orton did carry it.
It's Kansas City.
Benoit carried it. Like a lot of those guys carried it, but the one that stands out to me the most though was Triple H, just because of like his swagger, his whole like demeanor about everything, especially during that time.
I get it. I
I'm
understand.
not getting into that. I'm not
Yep.
going to acknowledge
Not at
that.
all. Not even touching those two comments.
Mm,
All right, Jamie.
because I did have that title with the Booker T sig. Oh, man, anyways,
Um, we've gone for over an hour now, so we've gone a little bit longer than we intended.
that's all right. We about
But
canceled the
it was
show tonight.
a great show. As we head on out, let everybody know where they can find you.
You can find me on my socials at Jamie Rose PW. Diamond State Wrestling is kicking off in a very, very exciting form. We have flawless episodes coming up. So if you're in Springdale, Arkansas on the 9th, which is Super Bowl Sunday, check us out on that. You can find us on YouTube at Diamond State Wrestling and all that. The hot tag, sometime in the week. You can find us, me and Scalz hitting that up. You could also watch me and Scalz tonight on our Royal Rumble kind of Discord special. I don't know how to describe what's going on, but he will get more into that. But anyways, I just want to say thank you guys and everybody. I'm Jamie Rose. Here's Scalz.
Thank you, everybody, for coming out tonight. As Jamie Rose said, tonight, 10 p.m. So in about 25 minutes, we'll be going live on our YouTube channel. We are going to be doing our selection Sunday for the Royal Rumble. So every year, I host a Royal Rumble pool. Everybody picks a name, and then on this show, we go through and we select the order that everybody's going to pick the number that they want. So make sure you come on out, see what's going on. It's going to be me, Jamie, Mike, and Jax. We're going to have some fun. We're going to talk about the Rumble, and we're just going to
Woo.
hopefully improve on the Rumble, and then hopefully get some people to come into the Discord.
Get
I
there.
also am the host of NXT on Tap. It happens at 9:45 on Tuesday nights, also on the YouTube. It is an exclusive show for YouTube. Before that, I go live with Ebby and Richie Mars over on TikTok, and then we bring everybody over here for the show. Normally, there is Botch Botch and Chair Shots on Sunday nights. They did not run tonight. They will be back next week. Tomorrow night, live
Love Botch
after
Bot.
Raw, right after Raw, we will have the table spot with Mike and Cam. I already spoke about NXT. And then Wednesday night after AEW, we have the show called The Boom. I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. Make sure you like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. We'll catch y'all soon. Have a great evening.